Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me. I had a little free time and I thought, why not do the Booktube Newbie Tag 2.0 that's been going around lately. The question sounded kind of interesting, so I thought I would give it a go. So let's get started. Question 1, what genres would you like to see talked about more on Booktube? I think, I like hearing about books that I don't normally read or wouldn't normally read. So, for example, like action adventure, thrillers, horror, mysteries, true crime, these types of books. I haven't really run across them a lot on watching Booktube videos, and I would like to, I'd like to hear more about those types of books, I think. Number 2, what do you feel is the best way to make friends on Booktube? I've been pretty bad about this myself, but it's commenting. Of course, that's the way on Booktube. That's the way to reach out and connect with people. I watch a lot of YouTube/Booktube on my TV because my TV has a built-in YouTube. But the downside of that, the great part of that, is I see a lot of fellow booktubers. I see your videos on my big screen TV, which is kind of nice. But the downside of that is it doesn't allow comments. It will allow, the liking. I can like a video, but to actually put in a comment, I actually have to go to my laptop. So sometimes I've been negligent in actually closing that loop. Sometimes I do watch the videos also on my laptop, and in that way I can comment. And so I'm trying to make a point to do that more and connect with people a little more on that level. But I have gotten a lot of great comments from people on my videos, and it's been a really good way fun way to interact about the book. Number 3, what do you enjoy the most about making Booktube videos? And what I really enjoy the most about making my videos is really connecting on a deep level with the work, a deeper level than I normally would have. Making the video actually causes me to pause and give the book quite a bit of thought, before I do the book chat video. So I love that. I absolutely love that. So, and that's the best part to me, is when I finished a book, is to just sit down and actually, engage with the book on a deep level. What do you enjoy? What do you least look forward to when making Booktube videos? Well, that's sort of the other side of that coin. That takes a lot of work, actually. A book like that I read recently, After the Ice, which covered the Ice Age, the experience of Homo sapiens humans from about 20,000 BC to 5,000 BC, the world over. So there was a lot of information in that book. So, but even a fantasy, sort of a light read fantasy book, requires me to decide what I want to say about the book. Ultimately, I have to edit, because I have to keep the video relatively short. My videos are unscripted, which is the other thing, so I have to have and unedited. I make a point of not editing my videos, and I don't script my videos because I want to keep this really conversational style. So that means I really have to put a lot of thought into the book, what I'd like to say in general about it, what points I would really like to bring up. But then sometimes I have to make the hard decision, like, well, if I talk about that, I'm going to run out of time and not be able to talk about that. Then I have to decide. That's my least favorite part about making the video, I think, is that whole endeavor. Okay, that was number 4. Number 5, what videos other than tags, TBRs, wrap-ups, reviews, and recommendations would you want to see more of? Well, Medieval Reader has been doing a series. She just started a series called Wisdom Wednesdays, which she's covering the essays of Montaigne. She picks an essay from one of the essays of Montaigne, and she just gives her thoughts and her experience with that essay, and what her thoughts about the essay are, what it means to her personally. I love that. I would love to see more of that. I actually had a series. I haven't done a video in a couple of months now, but I was doing a similar thing, and we'll continue it on with the Discourses by Epictetus, which I was taking a discourse and using that discourse, making a video chat about that discourse and sort of my experience and what with that discourse and what the discourse actually means to me. I would like to see that kind of thing. The other thing I'd really like to see is bilingual folks or trilingual folks. Those of you who can speak 2 languages are, wonderful assets. You have a wonderful asset. I would love to see people who can speak, like, for example, Brown Girl Reading reads some French literature, as does Medieval Reader. And so they're able to bring books that may not even be in print in English, or they're able to sometimes give us an idea of what the work is like in its original language versus what it may be in translation. I've learned a lot from people commenting on videos I did. Brazilian people commenting on my video on Fernando Pessoa, like the Book of Disquiet, where they can give me insight into what the difference between their experience in Portuguese, because the book obviously loses a little something going into English, or, for example, Haruki Murakami in something like the colorless Sakura Tozaki in his Years of Pilgrimage, where the Japanese version is different than the English version. I would love to see more videos that can point that out to me. Or Latinos, Latinas, who can speak Spanish and who can introduce me to maybe Spanish language literature, or differences they've read maybe a work in both Spanish and English, and what the difference to them was, if there was a difference. So I'd love to see more stuff like that. Other series, I love series, like Biblioatlas has been doing a Russian Lit series. That's good. I love stuff like that because that's sort of a theme. These sorts of things like I might not have time to get to reading Russian Lit right now, but I can hear her experience, and so I can sort of experience it vicariously through her. So those are the types of things I'd like to see more of, I think. All right, number 6. What are some themes you want to see more of or less in books? Well, one thing that I really enjoy is seekers, books about seekers and wanderers and people who actually, in their given condition, in their culture that they're in, for example, the time they're living in, whatever they're, wherever they find themselves, they sort of trying to seek their way and find their way through life. Also books that, sort of explore what it means for that character, or for what it means to have a good life, maybe nonfiction philosophy in that case, or in fiction when they're struggling, trying to figure out life for themselves. I think another thing is the books that question the background assumptions. The book Homo Deus mentions this, there's a lot of assumptions that we have around us in our culture, whatever culture you're from, that you're not even necessarily aware of. But books that call to mind that background narrative that's going on, that you didn't construct, your society constructed it. And I love books that question that background narrative. So I'd love to see more of that in books. What are some of your Booktube goals? Well, my ultimate goal when I started my channel was actually to connect deeper with books that I'd read. I really wanted to bring my own experience with the book. I wanted to have my channel be like I was calling up a friend of mine or sitting over a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a beer, talking about the latest book that I read, and really what the book meant to me. And so my goal was really to just try to make every book relatable, because I feel like if I can relate to the book, then I can explain that to someone else why I related to that book, and that would be a connection that we would have over that book, even though the book might not be something that the other person would particularly be interested in. I wanted to share my experience with it. So that was my goal when I set up my channel, and it's still my goal. Number 8, what advice would you give to a booktuber that has just created their channel? I've heard this response from other people, but I would say be yourself. Create the channel you want to watch. If you can't sit through your own videos, then you might not be making the channel that you want. Don't worry about subscribers. I vowed to myself when I started this channel, if I was ever caught myself making a video or saying something on a video or behaving in a certain way in order to try to attract subscribers rather than being my own genuine self and to be focused on genuinely on the book itself, then I was doing something wrong. I needed to stop the channel. So I would give advice. I would say don't worry about subscribers. If you build it, they will come. And just be yourself, be genuine, connect with what you're doing, connect with the books you're reading, and then share that experience in an honest and genuine way. Number 9, what are some qualities or traits that you look for when it comes to watching other booktubers? Well, one thing I watch for is and identify with is people who really connect with what they're reading. Even if it's a genre that I don't particularly read or really particularly want to read or have time to read, young adult, YA comes to mind, or manga, graphic novels, comics. There's a really good booktuber. His name is Neku the Book Lock, and I love watching his stuff. He gets so engaged with the works. I don't need to read it. I don't need to go and read it after I've heard him. I sort of get caught up with. I get his experience. I keep up sort of with what he's reading, what he's experiencing, and I really like that. People who really show me their connection with the work. I also love people who really delve deep into what they're reading. Hauls and book hauls and book reviews, and book hauls and book wrap-ups and shelf tours and all this I also like, but I really love it when people dig deep and they really give me their experience with the book. I do appreciate people who have the ability to review a book critically, and there are some good booktubers like Neil Griffith who can do that, but he also is real good about giving me his experience with whatever it is he's read, how it affected him emotionally or intellectually or whatever. So this is what I look for in other booktubers: genuineness and connection. Number 10, what is a fun fact about you or a hobby besides reading and writing that people on Booktube may not know that you have? Well, you may know I love opera. Over the last couple of years, I've really engaged with opera, and so I'm still learning that. There's a whole world of opera out there that's been around for centuries. I'm still learning about it, but opera is sort of, to me, it's sort of like Shakespeare. It's readily accessible to some people, but for many people, it's not just readily accessible. You don't just turn on an opera and and then get connected to it. But if you build it up, you build those neurons, you build those neural connections to where you can actually really engage with Shakespeare. You can really engage with opera. You really see a lot there. You can really get a lot from it. That's been my experience anyway. I realize it's probably not for everyone, but that's what I'm doing. I do opera chats, and I do have some opera tickets for this season coming up this fall and winter, so that'll be coming up soon. So I'll stop with that. That's the end of the tag. I'm not going to tag anybody. If anybody sees this video, the questions sound fun to do, and you want to do a video on it, feel free to do it. I'd love to see your response to the questions as well. So until next time, take care. Bye.